be watching those images of you guys, and I'll periodically open that up too, just to, get a thumbs up, thumbs down. How's it going? And we'll be able to see how things are kind of moving along. We'd also like to encourage you to interact in the chat today. So anytime you have a question, comment, please engage there, and we'll at times ask you for some responses, and we'll use your chat for that as well. As I said, I'm Pam Gothard. I'm a professional learning director here with Social Studies School Service and Nystrom Education. My very capable and able colleague today is Dr. Aaron Willis, and he is our Chief Learning Officer. Dr. Willis has been in education a little bit longer than I have, but not much. And I'm older than he is, though. Just had to throw that in there for you, Aaron.
Okay,
he has been with Social Studies School Service, though, for 25 years, and I am coming up on my 8th year with the company. So we're just delighted to be here and to be sharing with you today about Nystrom World and those resources that your district has already purchased, that you already have access to. So with all of you that are in here so far today, how many of you use Nystrom World on, say, at least a bi-weekly basis? If you use it at least bi-weekly, hit me up in the chat and let me know that.
Well, we got hands up from Nancy. You guys can also do hands.
That'll work too.
Or
hands
thumbs.
Are good. Yeah,
that's good. We like
Perfect.
that too.
Yep.
Kyle said yes. Lovely.
Okay, good. It's always kind of nice to make sure I know where you guys are, so that I'm not just being repetitive and telling you stuff that you already know. So we want to be attentive to that. Now, here's another question. Let's just make sure I'm clear on this. I am expecting that those of you that are in this session are either 6th grade world cultures teachers or high school world geography teachers. Is that true? Yes.
We've got heads, hands. Yes, that looks like pretty promising.
Now, let's see. I did see a couple of people not respond on that, but maybe they're otherwise engaged, or if you want to share what discipline you're teaching, put it in the chat, and that way we'll just try to be sure that we cover something that's beneficial to everybody. So you guys are teaching that 6th grade world cultures class. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Such a fun thing to teach, and so is world geography. So you guys, I suspect, are already very familiar with the 5 themes of geography, and we're going to be looking today at how Nystrom World can support you in reinforcing these 5 themes to your students. So whether it's the location, place, region, human and environmental interaction, or movement, we want to support you, and you are teaching that and reaching your students with Nystrom World. To start with, I took one of your standards, one of your TEKs, and I just went in. I wanted to, what are some things I can find that really meet a standard for you guys? So this is what I did. I took one of your standards here about physical features and environmental conditions that have influenced the past and migration patterns and have shaped the distribution of culture groups. And when I did that, these are just some of the responses that come up, and there are more responses, but I wanted you to have an idea of all the ways that you can meet that TEK in your classroom. And of course, you've got a pacing guide you're going by, so some of these would fit better in some places than others, but just to know that Nystrom World has what you need to teach those geography courses there. So as you can see, we've got a mapping U.S. history here. Here's a mapping our world, a desk atlas, atlas of world history, atlas of U.S. history, desk atlas over here. So there's lots of different types of resources that we have available to meet that TEK. Now this was 43C1A. And then I went on to B and stayed with that same, and looking at the Columbian Exchange and the diffusion of American popular culture, and look at the things that I come up with. Again, just looking at a few things that populated when I was trying to meet some of these standards here for you, using your TEKs. And then here's another, this is 2A, human and physical characteristics for the region. And again, just looking at, there's just such a plethora of resources here that we can really help meet your need all across the board in your geography courses. Now, I wanted you to see that we have solutions for you for whatever it is you're teaching in geography. We can help you find the resources that you want to use and need to use. So not only do we have the traditional atlas type of activities and mapping, but we also have a lot of very engaging interactive resources as well. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go live into Nystrom World, demo a few things for you, take questions. Primarily, I really want to know, what is it you have a question about? Is there something you're trying to teach that you're not sure where to go? Is there any question you have about grading? Anything along that line that is related to Nystrom World we want to address today. And then I'd like to give you guys a little bit of time today to do any exploring on your own that you guys need and or want to do. So thinking about both the 6th grade and the 9th grade courses and what you might want to utilize here. I'm going to start with the researcher. This is our atlas and activities icon. So let's go to researcher first. And I'm thinking that you guys being geography and world culture teachers, we're going to primarily want to use the World Atlas for 6th grade and the Desk Atlas for that 9th grade. You guys can go back and forth. You've got both. The World Atlas is designed more for middle school, but if you want to bring in something from high school, I think with the visuals that are there, it's very doable. High school teachers, those students that are a little bit lower level, drop down to that World Atlas if you need to, pick it up there, use it entirely, whatever works best for you. So this is where you guys can kind of decide like what really works best for you. So let me see, how many of you are the 6th grade world cultures teachers? 2, okay. And then the rest of you are high school? Is that right? Yep. Okay. Oh, okay. Very good. All right, let's take, oh, let me get back over here. I just lost that. Let me just close this for a second. I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to lose my window. There we go. So let's start with the World Atlas for a moment. I'm going to click on it and just open it up. Now, this is in your, I can't remember exactly what learning management system you have, but you log in through your learning management system. And when you go to Nystrom World, the atlases are in your account. They're not in your students' accounts. You have to give them access to these atlases. So you're going to do that by using the share button right here. You would just click on the share. Which class do you want to share this with? I'll share it with 3rd period World Geo and click share. And that's automatically now going to put that atlas into their account. So when they log in, they will have access to that. And that goes for any of the atlases there that you want to share with your students. The atlas is going to give us 3 different things. We have the atlas itself in a flip book. We have interactive activities, and then we also have some downloadable activities. Let's start with our flip book. One of the things that I hear over and over about our atlases is that the kids love these. Kids of all ages love these because they're colorful, they're engaging, and they really draw you in. And so whenever I'm out working with our atlases, I'm always excited because people just love these. So if we're looking at the 6th grade, we've got all the different continents here, and we can look at the different peoples of these different worlds. So let's see, here's Asia, page 80 to 95. Let's just put in page 80 up here at the top. Let's just go over there and see what we have to look at. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start out with a really nice map that shows us about Asia. It has the resource on the right-hand side here about your different, let me enlarge that a little bit, about your different types of land cover. And then we can also just flip the page by clicking on our arrows here. And now we have a political map of Asia. And now this is what I love. In here, you're going to have all these different maps, these thematic maps and different ones that we have available for you that really focus on that idea of like pure geography. So we're not talking about really the historical portions, although we'll talk about movement of people and ideas and goods, but we're really talking about those 5 themes and bringing all that into perspective. I like that in the 6th grade atlas, you'll find that we have content text that's in chunks, so it's not like an overwhelming amount of text. So especially for your second language learners and those that are reading below grade level, having less text on the page and more in the way of the images can really be helpful here. Once you enlarge your map with your magnifying glass here, you can also then move it on the page. And here are the Himalayas. And look at this chart here at the bottom of the page here. So you have all these different aspects that you can show your students about Asia, real pictures, as well as a variety of the maps. Let's see what else we have in the way of Asia. Notice again, we've got precipitation, we've got people. We're looking at a variety of things that are all related to the things that you teach in world geography or world cultures. You know about world cultures, you've got so much here about the different lifestyles, the dress, the families, and look at these graphs. Are these not great? Don't you just love that we present things in a variety of ways, because it really helps the students to understand so much better about the text that they're reading along with the images. So the atlases are great. They're very visual. One of the favorite visuals that people come to the sessions and say is this one, where it talks about the number of people with cars. This is a really nice one. And it really stresses like the population density and those kinds of things as well. So that's our atlas. Let's go back a page and let's take a look at the interactive activities that we have that also use those maps. So let's click on interactive activities. And if you guys have any questions or comments, put that in the chat. Dr. Willis is watching that for us. Here in the World Atlas, you're going to find that we have everything structured by world and then by different continents. So we have the world, of course. We're going to walk through here, United States and Canada, all these different areas. And you'll see that there is a structure to this. It's a variety of maps for each of the different areas. Let's see, here's Africa, where people live. Let's go back and see what else we had for Africa there, where people live. Elevation and precipitation. All these, and then we start back with South America. So there's similar things for the different continents all throughout, and then there are also things that are specific for the different continents. Let's take a look at one and kind of investigate how these interactive activities work. Let's pick one here. Let's go with Africa and do physical and political characteristics. Let's open that up by using the eye. The eye is our view button. And our interactive activities are designed so that the very first slide or the first question is a DOK level 1. That's a depth of knowledge 1. It's kind of that right there type of question. The question is there. The answer is going to be in the visual. By the time we get to slide 7 or whatever the last slide is in each of the different topics, the last slide is at a DOK 3. So we're gradually going to increase the rigor throughout. We're helping the kids to build to that level of rigor. So if students start out and maybe they're not ready for that level 3, what we're doing by using the different slides is we're building them up so that they can be successful at that level 3 when they get there. Now, at the moment, I'm in a teacher view, as you guys are probably all familiar. You can see my answers down here below. If I want to do this with my students, I'm going to click Hide Answers. And now I could actually go through this with my students and teach them how to use the interactive activities here. First of all, Dr. Willis and I recommend that the students read the question first. A lot of times our first inclination is to go to the map and look at it. But if you look at the map and you don't know what your question is, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where to go and what to look at, right? So let's instead read our question. Using the map, complete each sentence by choosing the correct answer from the drop-down box. Okay, so we've got the continent immediately north of Africa, south of Africa, east, west, south of Africa, the ocean south of Africa, and the continent south of Africa. Let's look at our map now. Let's enlarge it by using our tool there. Now we can see here is Africa. What is to the west? What's to the east? What continents are north, south? We get an idea and a perspective of that. And when we've kind of looked at our map and figured out what we want there, we can just click on the map and it's going to go back to its normal size. We can now go back over here to our questions. Now we can enlarge our map again whenever we want to, or we can use our magnifying tool here. If we forget something, we want to go back and take a look, I can use my magnifying tool to go back and do that with. So here, the continent immediately north of Africa, have a drop down menu. What do I want to say? Let's say, let's just put a few of these in here, and I'm not going to try to get those correct. I'm just going to put some answers in for the moment. And then we're going to move to our next slide. And here, instead of it being a drop down menu, it's a little bit different. It's actually going to be putting things in placeholders here. Look at this. We're now kind of doing that drag and drop method. So the kids are getting an experience with different ways to manipulate the screen, being interactive. They're using the maps. The maps are colorful and engaging, and we're giving them good content to go along with it. So it's kind of a win-win, right? And this one, again, is a drop and drag. Over here, let's see, got another drag and drop. And our level of questions are increasing as we go. We're getting more sophisticated in the type of questions that we have. This one now is incorporating a map and a chart. So the level of rigor is coming up because not only we're using one thing, but we're using two. And look at this. We've got quite a few questions there to answer before we go to our next page, as it tells us. Okay, here's another one. Now keep in mind, we're really getting higher up in our rigor, using our map again, multiple questions. And let's see what our last one's going to look like. Let's move on over a little bit further. So true, false with two maps. And our, oh, that is our last one. Okay, our map and then a world size map. We've got our questions here, again, moving to that DOK3. Now, I imagine most of you guys that have used Nicer World have probably engaged with some of these activities before, probably assigned them to your students. Is there anybody here that would like me to go through how to assign an activity in the Atlas? Anybody need that? Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so to assign something here, you're going to go to the silhouette up here at the top right-hand side of your screen. Click on the silhouette, and you're going to complete the form. When do you want it to be due? When do you want the students to be able to see it? Who do you want to assign it to? Which class do you want to assign it to?
Pam,
And
do me a favor. Go ahead and make an assignment, because I think they also use Canvas. And if they wanted to know how to copy and paste the assignment into Canvas, we should show them that little link.
Gladly, gladly. Okay, so I filled out my form, but there's two really new things here that if you haven't used Nicer World in the last short time, you may have not caught this yet, but you can allow students now to see the correct answers as soon as they submit their work. So if you want them to submit and get their responses immediately, you can do that. I think that probably depends on where you are, right? I mean, if you're still in that virtual environment and your kids are working virtually, maybe it's great that they go ahead and get that immediate feedback. But maybe if you're giving that immediate feedback to first period, the kids over in fourth period are going to copy the right answers. Kind of a, you have to decide which one meets your needs the best. You can also allow students to have a second try. So I'm going to give my kids a second try, and I'm going to save this for them. Save assignment. And when I save my assignment, notice here that I get this link. This link then is what you can embed in Canvas. So you guys are in Canvas. Here's your link. Let's take a look at how that works for a moment. I'm going to close this out now. I'm going to do a copy here. Copy that. Close my link. And let's go to our help page for a moment. Up here at the top of the page next to your logout is your question mark, and that is the help page. And on the help page, you have a variety of user guides here, one for teachers, one for students. Then you have a variety of help videos that teach you all about all the different things in Nicer World. And look down here under LTI Connections, Canvas. And here we give you a PDF that shows you exactly how to take that link now and put that over into Canvas. So you guys can go through these short little slides right here. You're going to take that external link. You're going to bring it over into Canvas. Look at this. You're going to add it into your Canvas platform. And it just walks you through that entire process there so that your students then can get that link in Canvas. Anyone have a question about how to find where I am in the help guide or on the help page? Anybody have any questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat. So as I was saying, in the World Atlas, you do have the world, and then you have all the different continents available in those interactive lessons. I'm going to go back a page to our flip book where we saw our flip book here and our interactive activities. The downloadable activities are all on a DOK level 1. So these are all those right there questions. So if you want to use the DOK level 1 questions, one thing about these, you can't assign them out virtually. So you would have to either print these, or what I would do is I would show them from my projector, and I would, let me see if I can get this to come up here. I would open one, and this could be something I could do as at the beginning of class while I'm taking attendance or something. I could have the students come in every day and do, like, today do the world facts, tomorrow maybe they do continents, Wednesday reference and thematic maps. Just a little something that is relevant but also keeps them engaged right away while I'm getting that attendance taken care of and out of the way. So just a little something else that you can utilize there. And again, too, because they're on that DOK level 1, might be something really good for your struggling learners or your ELL students especially. So all of that is going to come with each atlas, whether you're using the World Atlas, the Desk Atlas, or one of our history atlases. Let's go back over here a moment. And let's take a look at the Desk Atlas just so that we can see a little bit about what that has in it. Acts and reacts just the same as what we went over with your World Atlas. In a little bit, I'm going to have you guys working on your own, doing a little investigating on your own and seeing how things work and which ones you might want to use. Again, you've got the different continents are broken down. Let's take a look at Africa and see what let's go to Asia. That's what we used in the last one. Let's look at Asia and see what they have here. I'm going to go to, let's go to page 166. Let's kind of see what the things are here and how these look compared to what we saw in the World Atlas. Well, those look the same. We got a land cover, and now we're going to see, look at this, we're going to see a little bit different type of images in all atlas than we saw on the first one. Some are similar, some are different. So really, you have a lot of resources at your fingertips because you could pull from either one of these for your classes. I just want you to be aware of both of those. Now, I want to go back to our homepage. To go back to our homepage, I'm going to click on the word Nystrom right there. We're going to go back to our homepage. And now, how many of you, let me get over here where I can see you guys for a moment. Let's see. I'm not seeing any. Oh, there's my thing. How many of you use the mapping program? Any of you use the mapping program with your students? Oh, thank you, Rachel. Nancy, thank you. So several of you have not yet tried this with your students. So let's take a look at that and how it works, because this is really interactive and engaging for your students. Let's click on the Explorer. And since you guys are World Geo, let's use the one here on our world. Notice here we have a table of contents on the left. And we can now pick whichever one of these we want to work from. I'm going to go to Africa. And here with Africa now, have a close reading. This close reading, by the way, if you click right there on the word, it tells you a little bit about it. This is about a 15-minute activity. Just kind of helps you to know how you might want to gauge your plans for the day. About a 15-minute activity. And if I want to go ahead and view it from here, I can do that by clicking on the I for view. I can see that my reading really is relatively short, and it's followed by a close reading comprehension question. So that's one of the things that you'll find consistently for all the different continents here, is that you'll have a close reading that starts off each one of those. We'll go back here now. Next thing you'll find is you're going to have a host of different maps and mapping activities that the students can engage with. Africa, we're looking at water, cities, dry regions, wet regions, meeting the people. Quick write. So after you've done all the maps or some of the maps, you don't have to do all of them, you can go to a quick write and have the students write about the maps that they did use. Same applies for the quiz. And then you can have the students actually do a presentation that they then share back to you. So it's really a very comprehensive resource for each of your different continents that you can utilize there. Let's take a look at one of these. Let's go to meeting the people of Africa, and let's use our launch button. And our map is going to populate here, and we're going to be utilizing our toolbar or toolbox with this, our toolbox. Wow, look at this coming in. This is great. Now, all of this that you see here, these are answers. So maybe we want to start out again with being able to do this with our students. Now, I know that sometimes students can get a little confused on how to use our toolbox. So this is really important. The students and you have very specific directions about how all the toolbox features work. And again, that's on that help page. When you go ahead and click that question mark in the tool, under the help page, you'll find a teacher's guide and a student guide. And in both, our toolbox down here on the right-hand corner is numbered, and each of the tools are explained how to use them in that teacher guide. So be sure you check that one out. I'm going to demo just a little bit of that for you, since some of you haven't used this feature yet. It's really a great tool to use, and your students will really enjoy being able to engage with the map, not just looking at a map and dissecting it, but actually engaging with the map itself. So let's start here, and we're going to read. First of all, we have our instructions. You can see that it's telling us a little bit about what we're going to be doing. It also has an atlas here. Notice that. That is a link we can click on now, and it's going to take us to the atlas page that's related to Africa. In case we need to reference that later, we'll be able to go back to that. And my back button is hid. Let me go back over there. Whoops, that one. There we go. Now, my first thing that I'm going to do, it says to use the text tool to title the map. Well, I might need to go to my teacher guide or my student guide to figure out which one of these is which. This is going to be my text tool. I'm going to click on my capital T. And depending on where I want to put my, my title, will dictate maybe what color I want to use there. So I'm going to put my title up here kind of in this beigey colored area. So I don't want to use beige. I want to use something that's going to be kind of stand out. How about this kind of teal blue here? I'm going to use it. I'm going to change my coloring there to this teal blue. And now I'm going to change what my font looks like. I want it to be bold. And then I'm going to increase the size. Look at this. I'm increasing the size of my font. And now I'm going to go up here. Where do I want to put my title? I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to say, meeting the people. And I'm going to click enter. And look at that. There it comes in the color I proposed, in the size, and in bold, just as I dictated down here in my tool. So I now have that. Now, a lot of times students are not sure about how to close something when they're using a tool in Active Classroom, excuse me, in Nice Room World. So be sure you go back to your help book for that. Let's take a look at some of these things that we're doing here. Use the rectangle tool to put a box around the word Sahara. So now where am I going to get that rectangle tool? I'm going to come down here. I'm going to get my tool. Look at that. It automatically populated the same color in all that I used previously. I can keep that same color throughout, or I can change my color and do something entirely different here. I'm going to keep mine at that same color. Do I want my line around the Sahara to be solid, dashed, or dotted? I think I'll go with dotted. Now, me, I wear glasses. I like mine to be just a little bit bigger. So instead of my weight being a 1, I'm going to make my weight for mine a 3. Look how big my dots are now. Watch if I go back to the 1 again. See how my dots went to a smaller size? So I'm changing that to what I want to use here. Okay, now I'm going to go up and I'm putting a rectangle around the word the Sahara. I'm going to just drop dots and pull this out there and then click again. And there is my rectangle around the word the Sahara. So that's the way you want to use your different tools down here. Now, there's a tool here you can use. It says use your pencil tool to trace the southern boundaries of Western Sahara, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. So if I want to do that, I'm going to bring my map up first just a little bit more so that I can see where that is. And I'm looking at my southern boundaries of the Western Sahara. So I'm going to do my pencil this time. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to stay with that same color, but I don't want to use dotted again. I think I'll use solid, but I am going to keep it kind of along there. Now, let's see. If I want to make my border, notice I'm kind of just wiggling in and around to make my border the shape I want it to be in. And then when I'm done, I come over here and click finish. And there's my border. So you want to check out the teacher's guide about how to use each of these tools, but having your students actually engage with the map, map the borders, map where things are is much more meaningful sometimes than just looking at a map and gathering information from it. Okay, let me stop here for a second and see if anyone has any questions or comments about how to use the mapping tools or the mapping features, mapping program itself. Any questions or comments, you can use the chat to let us know what you have a question or comment about. Okay. Anybody? Okay.
I don't have anything in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to click on Nystrom and go back to our homepage here. And just to make sure that you guys are familiar with all the things that we do have to offer, I would like to encourage you that if you haven't been using Nystrom World, to come to the professional learning icon here. We have a complete self-paced course designed that you can utilize. So I went to professional learning and I'm going to select courses. You can see here that for grades 6 through 12, I have an online course that I can take at my own time and at my own speed. You can open that course up and it's going to walk you through how to use everything in Nystrom World. So if you want to learn more about the researcher, click on the researcher and we're going to have a nice little video there that you can watch. We have a reading for you and we have a review that you can take. So lots of ways for you to engage and learn more about Nystrom World. We'll go back over here and go back to my homepage again. Excuse me. Since some of you were needing to learn how to assign to students earlier, I assume that that means that you probably haven't graded things as well. So let's just take a look at that for a moment. If you assign things to your students digitally, come into our assignments and grades here. And one of just the nice pieces about this is that the things that are in here that are multiple choice and even the maps themselves, we already have the answer key in here for you. So let's go over here to grade and click on the grade icon. And let's see, I may not have anything in here since I didn't actually submit it. Go to all. It's not going to show it to me because I didn't have anyone turn it in. Okay, my apologies there, guys. I'm not sure that I've had any of these turned in, quite honestly, so it may be a little difficult for me to share a few of these. Let's see, we'll try one more and see if there were any responses to it, but I don't. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We'll filter by class. Let's just say, we'll just stay with all at the moment. We'll go with all there. And you'll see that the student has not yet turned it in. This is student 8, has not yet turned the work in. I can view their work. They have a 0 so far. I can click on this and see who has both turned it in and whose have been graded. Let's take a look at this one. Pull that up so that we can see a little bit about how this looks. All right. So in our grading interface here, because these are all multiple choice, they've all been already graded. The student scored a 4 out of 32. Ooh, not too great, right? So we can go down here and we can see that the student missed this one. Now we could go in here and we could type some feedback if we'd like, or we can actually record feedback. Hi, Aaron. I'm sorry you missed this one. How about giving it another try for me? And then the student would be able to play that feedback.
Hi, Aaron. I'm sorry you missed this one. How about giving it another try for me?
So a great way for you to be able to give feedback to students, you can type in feedback or you can record feedback, but you can also see all of the correct and incorrect answers there. Now, because the student did rather poorly, I think I will give them another attempt. So I'm going to click no attempt. What is my due date going to be for this new attempt? And who am I going to give it to? Do I want to give it to an individual student, or do I want to give it into an entire class? I could do that either way, individual student or to an entire class. I'm going to go over here and do just the individual student who did so poorly, and I'm going to save it and let that student have another attempt so that maybe they can be more successful. Okay, so a little bit about our grading interface. You can also go to Gradebook. Let's go to our Gradebook here, and you'll see that all of these have not been shared back with the students yet because all of these tabs are red. Now, if I click on this tab here, it gives me the opportunity to publish grades. That means I'm going to give the papers back to the students and let them see their work. So I'm going to publish grades. Am I sure I want to publish grades? Yep. And now look at that. I now have a green tab, which the green tab helps me to remember as a teacher. I've given this paper back to the students, but I haven't given them these yet. So I better get busy and get some grades back to those kids, right? That always kind of helps keep you on track when you know that you can look up there and see your colored codes and know what you've returned to your students and what you haven't. Let's go back to our homepage, and we're going to be wrapping this up in just a moment. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Comments, I'll be glad to take those as well. In Nice Room World, you can also go to your activity search, and you can search here just as we clicked on the researcher and the explorer. You can actually go here. I'm going to hit my reset button because I like to start my searches individually, and maybe I want to look at something related to Syria. And I'm just going to type in the word Syria and see, what do we have about Syria? And I can see everything that we have then about Syria is listed here. I might, because it was at one time called Babylonia, I could have put in Babylonia and to see if that gives me a different answer. Just like with Google or any kind of search feature, you might want to put in different topics to see what all you can find. So let's see, let's try another one. Let's do Egypt. See what we get for Egypt. We've got atlases, desk atlas, and the mapping program. So when you're using your search feature like this, rather than getting just the atlases or just the mapping program, you can go in and see which of those you want to utilize because they're all listed there for you. So I hope that that is helpful to everyone. It helps you to know a little bit more about where to go to get things in Nystrom World. And Dr. Willis also has some really great insight about what is soon to come in Nystrom World. I believe it's due out in the fall. And Aaron, would you like to share with them about those new updates we're going to be seeing in Nystrom World?
Sure, thanks, Pam. With the atlases, you can go in and we're going to be adding translation features to the atlas. So students will be able to highlight sections of the atlas and translate it into any one of 30 different languages, Spanish being the obvious one. But if you have students that are speaking Arabic or Russian or Chinese, they'll be able to translate it as well. In addition, all of the Atlas pages will have a read aloud feature. So if students need extra support and would like to have the text read to them, they'll be able to click on a little button and launch the read aloud. Additionally, we'll be adding definition and dictionary functions so students can highlight words and get their dictionary definitions. So that's all new stuff coming to all of the atlases, and that will be available in the fall. So we're excited about that extra support for your students.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we have, let's see, about 5 more minutes left. How about if we take that time for question and answers? And if you haven't been in Nystrom World in a while and you want to go in and explore and make sure you feel comfortable with everything, why don't you go ahead and do that? Log in through Canvas. If you've already been in, but you have a question, you're not sure about how to use something, or you just want to check on something new, let us know and we'll be here and be able to answer those questions for you. So kind of whatever you guys have need of at the moment in these last 5 or 6 minutes, how can we better serve you to help you get familiar with Nystrom World and incorporate that more in what you're already doing? I know some of you are already using it a lot because I see some names on here that look familiar. So I know that we've got some heavy users, but for those of you maybe that haven't been using it a lot yet, it's yours. The district's already paid for it, and it meets the needs of your TEAC. So let me just encourage you to be sure to jump in there and play around with it and share these great activities with your students. Anyone have a question, comment?
Pam, there were a few comments in the chat area. People are excited about read aloud, translation, and those features. And of course, we are too.
Absolutely.
Really want to be able to support students in as many different ways as we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What other language speakers do you have besides Spanish in your district? Put that in the chat. What other languages do you need support for? It's amazing.
Vietnamese, we'll have that in there. Vietnamese.
Oh, fantastic.
French, easy.
Good.
Do it in my sleep. Chinese too. You'll have different choices for Chinese. Standard, simplified.
Oh, look at that. That's quite a few different languages in the district.
We love it.
Yeah, very exciting. All right, everyone, unless you have questions or comments, let me just say that you're free to go at this point. I don't see any reason to keep you, like 4 more minutes on the dot or anything. If you're done and ready, if you'd like to stay on and ask Aaron and I questions, we'd be happy to take those from you.
And they're supposed to go back to Canvas now and check in. You guys need to make sure you get credit for the training. Go back to whatever your Canvas central location is and make sure to check in with Christine to get credit for your training today. Yeah, other languages here, Urdu, Swahili, Filipino, all of those will be supported in the new atlases. So glad to see that.
Marvelous. Wow. A very diverse district indeed.
Thanks everybody for coming out today, and let us know. And you can always send, Pam, would you click on the help button?
Yes, of course.
And then show the contact us form there on the help page.
Sure.
If you do have any questions there's that contact us, and you can send us a message. I'd like to see this. Do you have this? How does this work? Any question is good, and our customer service team is standing by. They'd be happy to work with you to solve any of your queries.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for spending a little